Ana Luiza had just celebrated her 17th birthday, surrounded by family and friends who loved her. A few days later, a surprise package arrived at her door. It was a small cake with a note attached. The note was sweet, but it had no name. She thought it was a late birthday gift, a kind gesture from someone fond of her. But in reality, it was a trap. Within hours of eating that cake, she was fighting for her life. Who could have orchestrated something so cruel? Was it a stranger, someone she trusted, or someone even closer than anyone could imagine? Through the investigation, those questions were answered, and it was not what anyone expected. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing super well. If you guys are new here, welcome. Make sure to subscribe and become a part of the familia. And if you've been watching my videos for a while, please just take a moment to double check down below that you're actually subscribed. I've seen so many comments from people who watch all my videos, but they didn't even realize that they weren't actually subscribed to my channel. And it's happened to me before with like other channels. I could have sworn that I was subscribed to this specific YouTuber and it turned out that I wasn't. So if you guys do watch my videos and you want to help this community and our impact continue to grow, please just take a quick moment to subscribe down below. With that being said, thank you all so much for being here today and for listening to this case. We're going to be going all the way to Brazil today. And we're going to be talking about a case that happened earlier this year, and it truly has just left me and so many people around the world completely outraged. It's made me so angry, and it's honestly very unfair and completely senseless. Ana Luiza's family has been very outspoken since what happened to her, urging people to stay alert and just be cautious, even in situations that might seem harmless. In Ana Luiza's case, she simply thought that she was receiving a late birthday gift, when in reality, it was someone's way of hurting her. It's very devastating, and I think it's very important to continue to share her story and just spread awareness on what her dad is trying to caution. I appreciate you all so much for being here and for helping me spread awareness on these very important cases. I do just want to take a quick moment before we get into the video to just thank today's sponsor for supporting this channel. Thank you to Home Chef for sponsoring today's video. Listen, the fall season is here. This is my favorite time of the year, and I want to pack my schedule with scary movie marathons, with pumpkin patches, with apple picking. There are so many fun fall activities that I am looking forward to, and if I'm being honest, cooking can really take up some of that time. It's difficult to think about a new recipe every single day or have to wonder what you're going to make for dinner tonight or how you're going to make it. Well, that's exactly why Home Chef is here. Home Chef is a weekly subscription service that delivers fresh ingredients and easy to follow recipes straight to your door. No grocery store runs, no stress, just convenience at your doorstep. So here's how it works. You select from 20+ new recipes every single week. You personalize your meals by swapping or upgrading proteins, yes, even salmon or impossible meat, then receive everything pre-portioned and fresh to your door. After that, you just cook using the step-by-step recipe cards that make dinner basically foolproof. These are my lifelines, you guys. This is the only way that I can ensure that my meals are delicious and perfect. So whether you're new in the kitchen or a seasoned cook, you'll feel like a pro. Some meals are ready in just 15 minutes, and the oven-ready options, those are total game changers. Everything cooks in the provided tray, so cleanup is practically nothing. It's perfect for those busy nights when you don't want to do dishes and you don't want to see them piling up in the sink and you just want to grab your food, sit on the couch, and watch your favorite movie. And let's talk taste. Home Chef was ranked #1 in both convenience and taste by users of leading meal kits. Every single dish I've tried has been delicious, and it's way more affordable than takeout. The deconstructed enchilada was insane. It was so delicious, but honestly for me the winner was the Italian sausage fettuccine. My husband and I finished this with like 2 seconds because it was so delicious, it was filling, and it was oven ready, so all I had to do was place all of the ingredients in the tray provided, pop it in the oven, and that was it. So if you want to make dinner time simple, fresh, and stress-free, hit the link in the description box down below and use code Jackie50 for 50% off plus free shipping on your first Home Chef box. Once again, thank you so much to Home Chef for supporting this channel. And with that, let's jump right into this video. 17-year-old Ana Luiza de Oliveira Neves was born on May 27, 2008 in Brazil. Now, there isn't a lot of detailed information about her personal life, but what we do know gives us a glimpse into the kind of girl that she was. Her father is Silvio Ferreira das Neves, and she grew up alongside a sister in a close-knit family. Ana Luiza was part of the Girl Scouts growing up, when she was younger, which was something that she really enjoyed and really loved. Her family remembers her as a gentle, calm, and hardworking girl. She She didn't cause problems with anyone, and everyone who knew her said that she carried herself with such kindness and with a big heart. This year, at the end of May 2025, Ana Luiza celebrated her 17th birthday with her family. She was excited about beginning another year of life and had so much ahead of her. But tragically, on May 31st, just a few days after she celebrated her birthday with all of her friends and family, everything changed. That evening, a package was delivered to the family's home. A motorbike courier dropped off a small cake, in a cup and with a handwritten note. The note read, quote, "A treat for the most beautiful girl I've ever seen." Now, there was no sender name, no one signed it. The only thing that was on the cake was the branding of the cake company, which was called Menina Trufa. At the time of the delivery, Ana Luisa actually wasn't home, so it was her sister who accepted the package on her behalf. When Ana Luisa returned to the family home at around 6 p.m., her sister notified her about the gift, and that's when she found the gift waiting for her. Believing that this was something thoughtful, maybe even a late birthday surprise from a friend, she was very excited about this cake and just really grateful for the gesture. She even took a picture of the cake and of the note on her bed before digging in. She also sent a voice message to her friends, reading the note aloud and saying that she wanted to know who sent this to her so that she could properly thank them, because again, this gift was dropped off anonymously. So she sends this picture to her friends, she sends the voice note, but one by one, her friends reply, each saying that they hadn't sent her anything. So if it wasn't any of her friends or her family, who was it? Maybe it was a secret admirer. Until she knew for sure, Ana Luisa didn't think much of it, and she just continued enjoying the sweet treat, and everything was normal. That was until Ana Luisa started to feel sick. At first, it was mild discomfort, but it quickly worsened. She messaged another friend about her symptoms, and that friend immediately told her that she just shouldn't have eaten something without knowing who it came from. However, Ana Luisa in the moment felt comfortable eating this dessert. Again, she thought this was a birthday gift. It came from a certified bakery, so she didn't think twice about it. But by then, it was too late. Ana Luisa continued getting worse. Her stomach pain became unbearable. She was vomiting, suffering from diarrhea, and she was becoming weaker and weaker by the hour. Her symptoms got so bad that her dad Silvio put her inside the car and rushed her to the hospital. Now, one of her friends, whom we'll call Sarah for the sake of the video, was actually with her that night because they were having a sleepover. So Sarah was there through it all. She watched as Silvio carried Ana Luisa out of the house into the car and rushed her to the hospital. It was just an absolutely terrifying night for the family, for Sarah, and for Ana Luisa herself, who was frightened and not understanding why she felt so sick after just eating a simple little cake. At the hospital, doctors examined her and they worked on her and diagnosed what appeared to be food poisoning. They treated her with medication and they hooked her up to an IV drip. Slowly, her condition began to improve. The color of her skin began to return and she seemed to stabilize. Feeling reassured, the doctors released her and Silvio brought her back home. Ana Luisa believed that the worst had passed. She felt so sick, she was vomiting, she was having all of these horrible symptoms, but now after being treated by doctors at the hospital and them telling her that she was okay and everything would be fine, Ana Luisa felt good. She felt that she had been taken care of, and she told her family that all she needed was to rest for the night and that tomorrow she would be okay. She truly hoped that by the next day her strength would return and she could just go back to normal and just forget about all of this. They get home from the hospital and she actually continues her sleepover with Sarah, and that was that. But by the next day, on June 1st, Ana Luisa woke up and still wasn't feeling well. By the afternoon, her condition suddenly took a terrifying turn. At around 4 p.m., she fainted in the bathroom of her home. Her friend Sarah, who had stayed over from the night before, witnessed the collapse, but she didn't really react much. It was all kind of just shocking because again, the doctors had told her that she was okay. Her father Silvio immediately rushed into the bathroom and he immediately began to panic. He rushed to her side, he picked her up and he carried her back into the family car and started driving straight to the emergency room. But by the time that they arrived, Ana Luisa had gone into cardiac arrest and it was unfortunately too late. Doctors tried to do everything that they could to revive her and they performed resuscitation procedures, but she had no vital signs. At just 17 years old, the same girl who had been blowing out birthday candles just days before was now gone. Ana Luiza's sudden death was not only devastating, but it immediately raised suspicions. After explaining to authorities, what happened, like how they got to this point, going back to this random cake being delivered from an unknown sender, to Ana Luiza eating the cake, asking her friends about it, to no one admitting that they sent it to her, to then getting sick and then now passing away, all of this led back to that cake. So poisoning could not be ruled out, not just food poisoning, but actual poisoning. With all of this, an investigation began almost immediately. The first place that authorities needed to look at was the cake shop where the dessert she anonymously received came from, which again was called Menina Trufa. Investigators headed over to the bakery and they questioned whether an employee had poisoned, the dessert randomly or if Ana Luiza had been intentionally targeted. However, this theory was quickly dismissed. As soon as investigators got there and they started speaking to the employees and to everyone there, they were all cooperating fully and they explained that while the cake had indeed been purchased from them, it had not been delivered by any of their hired delivery drivers. They stressed that, once the product left the store, they had no control over what might have happened to it. With the cake shop now being ruled out, investigators had to turn their attention somewhere else. If it wasn't the bakery directly, then who delivered the cake? Could it have been an ex-boyfriend, a stranger, or someone even closer? Who would want to harm Ana Luiza and why? As the investigation continued, Ana Luiza's loved ones had to say their final goodbyes to her. All of this happened incredibly quick. One minute they were all together celebrating her birthday and just celebrating her life, and now they were burying her. It was all just absolutely devastating, and just to think that she was only 17 years old, just so incredibly young. They were all there mourning such a young life that was taken from them so suddenly and so horrendously. At her funeral, her father Silvio spoke through tears about who Ana Luiza truly was. He described her as a normal, quiet girl with only a few close friends, someone innocent who never thought people could be so cruel and poison someone else. He believed that that's why she trusted the cake, even though it came from an unknown sender, even though she had no idea who sent this cake or why, she didn't think, oh, maybe this cake is poisoned. She didn't see the danger in others, which is why she felt so comfortable and so safe to take a bite. Silvio said, quote, "I lost the love of my life. She had just turned 17. It's so painful. There aren't even words to describe what I'm feeling. It's too difficult for me. Only God can give me strength. My daughter didn't deserve this. She was a good person, had no vices, didn't involve herself with anyone, and she was hardworking." He also used that moment to warn other families. He pleaded with parents to just remind their children never to accept food from people that they don't know, saying, quote, "I just want to tell everyone to warn their children not to accept anything from anyone and to not eat anything from anyone who isn't a well-known family member. Don't accept anything from anyone who isn't family because evil exists. There are many people doing harm out there." Now, the cake shop owner also chose to honor Ana Luiza. On the day of her funeral, they closed their doors as a sign of respect and they shared their condolences with her grieving family, and they even shared a video on their social media pages to discuss what had happened and to say that, they were not a part of this and that their hearts did go out to Ana Luiza and that this was a horrific crime. That day was about honoring Ana Luiza, but investigators and her family also knew that they needed to keep searching for answers. The person that did this to her needed to be caught as soon as possible before they did this to someone else. As the investigation continued, authorities needed to go back to the start. At this point, they already knew that the cake shop was cleared. So the next step was finding the delivery driver. The cake shop said that this was not one of their drivers, so who was it? This was either the person who poisoned her, or this delivery driver could hopefully lead to whoever hired them to do this. Investigators were able to find the license plate of the motorbike. They traced that to the courier, and they eventually found the person who delivered this cake and questioned them. After questioning this person, they realized that this man was just completely innocent. He was not the one who bought the cake and he hadn't tampered with it. He was just simply hired to deliver this cake, and that was it. So now, if it wasn't the cake shop and if it wasn't the delivery driver that poisoned Ana Luiza, then who was it? Well, during the questioning of the delivery driver, they got critical information. They got an address. The delivery driver explained to investigators that he went to go pick up the cake from this address and was then given Ana Luiza's address as the destination to deliver this cake. When investigators looked up the address that he gave them, it led them back to someone very unexpected. Ana Luiza knew this person. Not only did she know this person, but they were friends. This address led back to 17-year-old Sarah. Sarah, the very same friend who had just been at Ana Luiza's house that night, the friend that was there at the sleepover. This friend, Sarah, was there as Ana started to feel sick, as her dad rushed to take her to the hospital. She was with her at the hospital, and she was still there when she collapsed in the bathroom the very next day. The entire time, Sarah knew exactly what was happening to Ana because she was the one who planned it. When authorities brought her in for questioning, Sarah initially denied having anything to do with the poisoning. However, after a little bit of pushback and under further interrogation, Sarah admitted to everything. She confessed that she was the one who poisoned Ana Luiza with the cake. It was honestly a shocking confession, and thankfully investigators now knew who did it, but still they were left with just so many questions. Why would she do this to her friend? Why would she do this when she was sleeping over at Ana Luiza's house, under the same house as her, with her family there? It just didn't make sense to them. And how did she get the poison into the cake? Where did she get the poison from? And how could she just sit there and watch her friend slowly die? It was all extremely disturbing to investigators, and Sarah explained that she had purchased arsenic trioxide online, which is a type of poison that is colorless, tasteless, and dissolves easily, making it nearly impossible to detect. She said that she laced the cake jar with it and arranged for it to be delivered anonymously. When investigators asked her why she did this, why did she murder her friend, Sarah claimed that the motive was jealousy and anger in relations to some boy problems that they were having. All of this over boy problems. Oh my gosh, it's just so insane. According to Chief Inspector Vitor Santos de Jesus, Sarah had low self-esteem and jealousy towards Ana Luiza. However, she insisted to authorities that yes, she was jealous, and yes, this was about boy problems. However, she never intended to actually kill Ana Luiza. Her true intention was just to, scare her, to make her back off with whatever was going on between them. Investigators didn't really believe her though. They pointed out that using arsenic, a lethal poison, clearly showed otherwise. Why would Sarah take that risk that it wouldn't kill her just to, give her a warning? This was intentional. When Ana Luiza's dad, Silvio, learned that it was Sarah who did it, the betrayal was just unthinkable, unbearable, and just truly shocking. He recalled that after Ana Luiza's death, Sarah had actually hugged him and comforted him, even though she was the one who did this, and she's the one who caused him this grief. Silvio said, quote, "This girl came to sleep over at my house. She was there every step of the way. She saw my daughter get sick. She saw me take her to the hospital. The next day, she saw my daughter collapse in the bathroom. And she didn't react at all because she had been planning this for a long time. I'm absolutely certain." Silvio had opened his home and his trust to someone he thought was his daughter's friend, and in return, she took his daughter's life and destroyed his family forever. Over what? Boy problems? Over jealousy? It's so insane to think about. It's sickening, and I feel so terrible for Silvio, for Ana Luiza's sister, for her family who had to be in contact with Sarah, the day after at the funeral, and just had to be around her and now have to realize that she was the killer all along. Now, Sarah's confession didn't end there. She actually had tried this before Ana Luiza. She admitted to authorities that just weeks earlier on May 15th, she had poisoned another friend in the exact same way. This friend became extremely sick and she had to be hospitalized, but thankfully she survived. Sarah told investigators that she bought the poison online for about $15 and she mixed it into the cakes that she used to target both of the girls. Why she targeted this other friend, I don't know, but wow, I just cannot believe this. The fact that she had done this twice within the same month is insane. The cruelty of it is beyond words, and it makes me so incredibly angry. Now, since Sarah is a minor, she won't face a jury. Instead, she was placed in a juvenile detention facility under Brazil's child and adolescent statute. Her case will be handled privately, and under this law, the maximum sentence for anyone between the ages of 12 to 17 years old is just 3 years, no matter how serious the crime is. This statute is built around rehabilitation and reintegration into society, and it focuses more on counseling and social programs rather than punishment. So for Ana Luiza's family to hear that she will probably only get 3 years for ending a life, it's absolutely horrendous, and to them, it will never feel like true justice. And when Sarah gets out, what's to stop her from doing this to another, friend that she feels jealous of, or that she has boy problems with, or do this to someone else just because she wants to? The fact that she's already done this twice is just truly shocking, and it makes you think about if she can actually change after those 3 years. Now, Ana Luiza's dad, Silvio, is still, struggling to process the tragedy. In an interview, he said, quote, "There are times when we try to find ground to stand on and we can't. We can't believe it. I keep asking, why so much cruelty? How can someone do something so evil so easily? And how can they even have access to such a dangerous substance online to poison another person? I think he's asking a really good question. It is shocking how easily someone can get this stuff online without it sending off red flags or anything like that. What I find just so powerful is that even in the middle of this horrific grief, Silvio has chosen to use his voice to spread awareness. He wants people to understand that these risks are real and that teaching our kids to be cautious could save lives. He reminds us how important it is to pay attention to what teenagers are doing online, to pay attention to what their browsing history is, to what they're searching for, the things they might be online shopping for, and to just have conversations with your children about emotions such as jealousy and anger and how to handle them in healthier ways. He also speaks about the importance of trust. If something feels off, if a delivery seems unusual, if the food looks suspicious or even just gives you a bad feeling, or if your instincts are telling you to just pause and take a step back and think about what you're about to do or what's in front of you, just listen to yourself, listen to that feeling. You should never feel doubt or feel like you're being overdramatic or feel, oh, I'm being, silly right now thinking about this. Like, no, if your gut feeling is telling you to examine the situation correctly, then you need to listen to it. I actually shared this story on my TikTok page a couple of years ago, but I'll share it here with you guys as well because what happened to me actually relates to what Silvio is saying. So a couple of years ago, I went to a bar with my husband and, I was sitting there with him having my drink. The bar was filled with like girls, men, grown adults. It was just a variety of people hanging out at the bar, right? So I was in the middle of having my margarita when all of a sudden the bartender brings me a new drink. I didn't order this drink. My husband didn't order this drink. And it was actually like a very big pink girly drink and like a flamingo thingy with like an umbrella. It was just like a very out there drink, right? So the bartender hands it to me and he's like, here, like this is on the house. Like someone sent this to you anonymously. It's, I forget what type of drink it was, but he described the drink and just left it there. Now, I'm not someone that drinks that much. So I already had my margarita. I didn't want a second drink. My husband didn't want a second drink. I also don't like really like fruity or like girly drinks like that. So I told the bartender, thank you for making this drink. It looks beautiful. However, I politely declined and I told him he could take the drink back to whoever sent it to me or, give it to someone else for free or, just take it back, right? I said it in a very respectful way. And I feel like at this point, the bartender should have just been like, okay, sounds good, and taken the drink and just walked away, right? However, this bartender was kind of upset with me. I told him, oh, I actually don't want this drink. And he was like, why? And I told him, well, I don't feel like drinking a second drink. I don't know who sent me this drink. And he wouldn't tell me who sent it to me. He was like, it was just anonymous. And I was like, well, I don't know who sent me this drink. I don't want a second drink. And I don't even have to give you more reasonings as to why I don't want to drink, right? And he pushed it back to me and he's like, but it's free. You're not paying for this drink. Someone sent it to you. It's fine. It's this fruity drink, whatever. And I was like, in my head, I was like, I don't care that it's free. I really don't care. I don't want this drink right now. But to him, I was just like, no, it's okay. Just take it back. Thank you so much though. And again, he kept pushing me back, you guys. It was the weirdest thing ever. He started to make me feel bad. He was like, so you're just giving up a free drink? Like, I don't understand why you're not drinking this. And it went back and forth like that for a little bit until my husband was just like, please just take the drink back. Like, we're not trying to have any problems here. Just take it back. Eventually the bartender, takes it back. He makes a huge face at me. Like, he is very disappointed at me for not accepting this drink. And whatever, he moves on from it. I move on from it. And like 30 minutes later, these girls come up to me and they're like, hey, did you get a girly drink? Like, I think I saw you with one earlier. Like, why didn't you accept it? And I was like, oh, like, were you guys the one that sent it to me? Like, these were like young girls, like probably my age. They're like, no, but we got the same drink as well. And we were very confused and we didn't know if you had sent it to us because we saw you with it earlier. We just didn't know what was going on. And I think it's that older gentleman over there that sent it to like all the girls sitting at the bar. And then we look over at this older gentleman who was there with like another guy, and he had that fruity drink too, and he went like that to us, like cheering. And so after we were like, oh, like it probably was him. He probably just sent it to like all the girls at the bar, just to be nice or whatever. So in the end, this turned out to just be a harmless drink. And I wasn't rejecting it at the start because I was thinking someone poisoned it or roofied it or something like that, especially because I was, with my husband. This was like a packed place with like a lot of like families, but also like young people. The bartender made it himself. So I wasn't thinking, oh, it's roofied weed or there's some type of drug or something in it. I just genuinely didn't want to drink this drink. Like, I didn't know who sent it to me. So the fact that this bartender was making me feel so bad about it and was like heckling me in a way to just drink it, it was a very odd situation. Again, it all turned out to be okay. I think it was just a guy sending it to everyone at the bar. But still, it relates back to what Silvio was saying of, listen to your gut. If you just don't want to do something, if you feel like you want to question something, don't feel like you're being dramatic and don't feel bad about questioning things. And in that moment, the bartender was making me feel bad for rejecting this drink and for questioning whether or not I should drink it. You know what I mean? It was a very odd thing. And, Silvio just wants to make this clear that it was never his daughter's fault for eating the cake, and he is in no way blaming Ana Luiza for what happened. His only intention is to raise awareness, to remind families that there are people in this world capable of inflicting harm, and that we need to teach our kids and people of all ages to be careful when accepting gifts from strangers. He has said that he would never wish this kind of tragedy on any other family, and if sharing his daughter's story can prevent even one parent from experiencing the pain that he and his family are living through, then that is the goal. Ana Luiza was only 17 years old. She was so loved by her father, by her sister, by her family, and by her real friends, who will never get to see the woman that she would have become, or the things that she would have accomplished in her future. I truly hope that her family can find healing and that Ana Luiza is resting peacefully and that, she does get justice. My deepest condolences go out to everyone who loved her. I will be leaving some resources down below for parents to have conversations with their kids about emotions such as jealousy and anger, and how to cope with these talks and these conversations with them in a productive and healthy way. I'll also be sharing resources for parents on how to talk to their kids about stranger danger and staying safe when it comes to accepting gifts from unknown senders, so that we can all stay aware and just be cautious in these situations. Again, that bartender made me feel bad, and maybe listening to my story, it's kind of silly, girl, why don't you just accept the drink? But I just didn't want to. My gut was just telling me not to, and I will never apologize for what my gut feeling is and for, following my instincts. Anyways, I will keep you guys posted on how the trial goes, on what the outcome is for Sarah. I think that only serving 3 years for poisoning and murdering someone is horrifying and completely unfair, but I would love to know what you guys think about this down below, and just thank you so much for sitting here and for listening to Ana Luiza's story. If you guys haven't watched my last video, I covered the case of Melissa Palacios, a young girl from Guatemala who was also a victim of someone that she trusted. I will leave her case and another past video linked at the end for you guys to go watch. I've also now taken my goal of spreading awareness to a newsletter format. Last month, I sent out the very first issue of True Crime Jackie News, and I just want to thank all of you guys who read it and supported this first issue. This newsletter is another space for us to fulfill our mission, through helpful resources, case updates, information on missing persons, safety and expert tips, organizations to support, a Q&A section at the end of every newsletter to answer your questions, and just so much more. It's completely free to subscribe to, and you'll get this delivered to your inbox on the first Monday of every month. The second issue will be sent on October 6th, so you guys have plenty of time to subscribe before then. Thank you again for letting me expand the familia and my content across all these different platforms, but still with the same goal. I appreciate you guys so much. And lastly, before I sign off, if you guys have not subscribed to my second channel and you're into mysteries or fictional thriller stories, you guys can click here or click down below to subscribe. I love that second channel. They kind of take me a while to make those videos because I have to watch the movie and analyze them, and it's just like a whole process. However, next week I will be uploading a video where we discuss the movie Red Eye, which stars Rachel McAdams and Cillian Murphy. So make sure to go check that out. And yeah, thank you guys again so much for being here, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, familia.